Salute BlakGoose TV family. What's good with it? It's your boy, Fluence. I'm back up in this thing. I know y'all like, yo, what's going on? It's late. It's Sunday night. Fluence is going live. Like, what's the point of this? What's going on? Like, I don't understand. He don't ever do this. Like, or on certain special occasions, you might see me go live on a Sunday night. But when it comes to this late, I know you're a little bit thrown off. So, and if you're not, then I salute y'all, and that means y'all just looking forward to more content, and I appreciate that. And the reason I'm pumping out this content is for y'all, but also because sometimes, man, I just be like, man, I got some things I want to say, and why should I just say them to myself? Why should I not share them with the BlakGoose TV family so I can get their opinion on it? And maybe I need to get myself in check. Maybe the things I'm thinking or the shit I'm going over in my head when it comes to this boxing world, when it comes to things that happen in the boxing community, maybe I'm over the top with it. Maybe I'm tripping, and I need to go ahead and get humbled by my BlakGoose TV family. So that's why I'm like, let me go ahead and just go live. That's how I've been feeling lately. So that's why you've been seeing a little bit more lives. And I'm like, it's only right too, man. We have basically one of the biggest upsets. I don't know if you can say it's one of the biggest upsets in the last 5 years, because we do still have Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz that happened. But it was a pretty big, unexpected loss coming from a legend that most people didn't expect. I didn't expect it. I know I dropped a couple of videos, choice words for y'all. Excuse me for the feedback right there. I had to make sure the audio was good, but I did drop a couple of videos. I had some choice words for the people, because Ebony and Sweet, you definitely corrected me. You definitely put me in check. You definitely was like, yo, I'm not going to call you out, but you did say it was going to be a boring fight and Canelo wins. You're right. You are right. But if you watched, if you watched, which I'm pretty sure you have, or at least have, some type of understanding, if you watch kind of like the more lengthy breakdowns or analysis that I did of the particular fight, I did make it known that I said, hey, Bivol is a tough matchup for Canelo, and anyone who's sleeping on Bivol, you guys are going to regret it when you actually watch it. And it just always comes down to the fact that because we are U.S. fans, and sometimes a fighter that's not necessarily known in the U.S. is coming, especially nowadays with the zone becoming more of a bigger play in the boxing community, and a lot of the zone fighters, matchroom fighters, etc. Their particular fan base is based in the UK or based overseas, Russia, whatever the case may be. We're not going to know about them as United States, as U.S. fans, as U.S. boxing fans. We're going to be like, who is it? So because of that simple fact, it's going to be easy for us to write off a lot of people. But at the end of the day, that was my particular point. Yeah, I may talk to my shit a little bit. I was a little extra. Y'all know, what I'm saying? There's a reason why I got Fluence in front of everything I do. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why they call me Fluence. You know what I'm saying? That's a young nigga name, I was given that. No one gave that. So, there's a little passionate and a little love when it comes to a lot of things I say when it gets to a particular point of the night, if you feel what I'm saying. But with that being said, it doesn't take away from the point that I challenged everyone who listened to any of my takes when it came to Bivol and Canelo. Don't sleep on him. Don't just say, hey, he's not that good. Don't be like, hey, Canelo's he's taking another easy fight simply because you don't know who he is. Because you can, if there's one thing that I can definitely stand on, one thing I can bet my money on, one thing I can say, hey, you cannot dispute me on this. If you look back on those videos that I was talking about, I said the package of Bivol versus Triple G and whoever his third fight may be, if it's John Ryder, I said that's going to look more significant on his resume than a Charlo and a Benavidez. I said that because Bivol is somebody you guys should not be sniffing at. And I continue to talk about, the 5 year, 5 years ago, we had light heavyweights that we were looking at overseas wise and yard. I'm not going to get all into that because I'm not going to keep repeating myself because I shouldn't have to. But at the end of the day, Ebony Sweet, yeah, you are right. I did pick Canelo to win. I did say it was probably going to be a boring fight that was going to happen, and Canelo would win in a boring fashion. But I also did that in the sense of being safe, and that's my fault. But I also combated a lot of that by saying to the people, hey, look, don't underestimate Bivol. Don't underestimate what he can do. I said, is Canelo going to be able to take advantage of the rhythm step? He wasn't able to. Like, I have a million videos basically telling you guys the game plan and how Bivol can beat. I keep saying Bivol when really it's Bivol. Excuse me for that. I'm sorry about that, guys. So I have a million videos talking about how Bivol can be exposed or can be taken advantage of by Canelo. But I said, will Canelo be able to do that? Remember, Canelo said, all I got to do is take away his jab. Once I take away his jab, I know how to take away his jab. I'm not tripping. He didn't know how to take away his jab, guys. And that's what we saw. So there's a lot of questions that can be asked. There's a lot of things that need to be answered. But I think first and foremost, one of the things that we need to go ahead and touch on comes down to Bivol versus Canelo. Could have been a robbery, right? And I'm saying this in the most sarcastic way. Most sarcastic way, guys. Because, look, I'm watching the fight. It wasn't even close. You guys can go check that out on the Fluence Lounge. That's live. Me and Zen, we was watching the whole thing. We was judging it the whole way. Everybody and their mama who was up in there, nobody gave it to Canelo. Canelo was not having any success. And also remember this too. I compare Bivol to Triple G. I said he's a bigger Triple G, but he may not have the one-punch knockout power that Triple G had at his respective weight class, right? But we're talking about a bigger weight class, so maybe it's a little bit harder to have a one-punch knockout power at a bigger weight class, right? That makes sense. Can't dispute that. That makes a lot of sense. But with that being said, I told the people, I said, hey, look, Bivol reminds me of Triple G. I think he's going to have a lot of success the same way Triple G did with that jab. And we saw that. Canelo has a lot of problems against a fighter who is very, very, very reliant on their jab. But when I say reliant on their jab, there's different ways that you can utilize your jab that can be threatening. You can use it as a measuring stick. You can use it as a, hey, I'm just pretending to act like I'm going to put you in danger, but I'm not putting you in danger. You can use it as a, hey, I'm using it as a defense. Or you can use it as something that you're setting everything up for, and it's just as powerful as the right hand. There's very few fighters who can use it when I'm talking about the last step. Like, so, because I've talked about how Canelo's ran into fighters who utilize their jab, and he's been able to, at the very best, get the better of his opponent, right? Caleb Plant utilized his jab, but Caleb utilized his jab as a measuring stick. He utilized it as, hey, look, I'm going to make it look like you're in danger. I'm going to make it look like I'm not in danger, but really, I'm trying to collect myself. You can find a way to get around that jab, right? Alexander Lara utilizes his jab to set up a lot of the other things he wants to do. His jab is not a weapon. It's to set up his other weapons. So Canelo's like, I can take that jab away. Because if your initial jab isn't a weapon, what do I have to be scared of once I realize that in the ring? Okay. Now we're talking about Floyd. Floyd doesn't use his jab as just, I'm going to set everything else up. Floyd's jab is a weapon. Floyd doesn't need a setup. Oh, I need to land my jab so I can set up the uppercut. I need to land my jab so I can set up the right hook. I need to land my jab so I can set up the left hook. His jab literally, I'm landing my jab so I can land a jab to the body, then come back up top with the jab to throw you off your momentum and throw you off your game so I can angle a certain way. And then now I'm throwing something that you didn't expect. So his jab is a weapon. So it's very much harder to game plan for a jab that's a weapon because very few fighters use their jab as a weapon. Right? And so now he came across somebody who used his jab as a weapon. And I told you guys this. I said, Bivol he doesn't have much to the tank. He uses his one, uses his two, uses 1, 2, uses 1, 2. He uses 2, uses 1. He doesn't have much, but the jab, the way he's able to utilize his jab is not in the sense of where he's measuring or where he's trying to find his range or where he's trying to make sure he stays out of reach. No, his jab is his weapon. His jab is just as powerful as throwing a 2. When you feel the 1, you feeling it the same way you throwing the 2. So now you're looking at yourself like, okay, I got a plan for his jab and I got a plan for whatever comes behind it, rather than saying, oh, his jab is basically an illusion. So as long as I'm able to time his jab, I can time everything else coming behind it. See what I'm saying? And a lot of you probably won't, because I'm talking some real advanced shit. But I'm trying to let you guys in on how I see the things I see. Now, I'm gonna be 100 with you. I did not see Canelo losing in the fashion that he did against Bivol, where Bivol literally dominated the whole fight. And if we see Canelo versus Bivol again, he's not going to win. And I think this is something that has to be said as well. So a lot of people want to criticize Triple G. Triple G versus Canelo, one of the fights that he had with Triple G looked very similar to the Bivol fight, but Canelo was at such a peak, you couldn't allow that to happen. And he had a much bigger name behind him than DAZN. And I'm not saying DAZN and Eddie Hearn is a smaller name than Oscar. I'm just saying at the time, the money that's being pumped through in the U.S. market with Canelo, you're not going to allow it to happen. You're taking a risk when people don't talk about this either. Canelo took a risk going with DAZN, going with Eddie Hearn. Let's say that. Because what I was just talking about was U.S. markets, right? Eddie Hearn has not cracked the surface for U.S. market. So I'm going into Eddie Hearn. I'm doing what I do. I have this chance to fight these overseas fight. Right. He's not necessarily building his brand in a U.S. market, but he's building his brand globally, which is smart from Canelo's standpoint. Because now he's saying I have fans everywhere rather than saying I just have my Mexican fans and I have my U.S. fans. Now I have fans overseas. I'm taking chances. I looked at something in my video, my YouTube feed, my YouTube, the joint goes up and down. It showed the post-fight interviews for both the fighters, Bivol, I gotta say right, Bivol and Alvarez, right? Canelo Alvarez is in like 24 hours to a day. It was over 300K, right? Bivol, it was barely touching 80K. That's a fact. So me saying that, it leads into my next topic or question or reasoning. Is Canelo done? What does this loss mean to Canelo? Does it mean anything at all? Right? Is this a loss that anyone should really care about? How much should we take away from this? Because there's things floating around. There's things that I'm seeing, and they're saying, oh, is Canelo going to take the rematch against Bivol? Right? Is Bivol going to offer the rematch? Right? But we all know Canelo was never a light heavyweight. He moved up. Right? So can I say this? Can I say this? Right? And this leads into also my third topic. I don't want to go too quick in this, but this brings Triple G now into the question. There's a reason why he picked the Triple G trilogy. It all comes together now. And this shows how smart Canelo's team is. It shows how smart Canelo is. Whoever decided this, Eddie Hearn, whoever the fuck decided this, it shows how smart they are in their team, right? Because us American fans, we don't know who Bivol is. We don't know who Bivol is. We're saying, hey, man, you should fight Jamal Charlo. You should fight David Benavidez, blah, 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 right? Blah, 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 blah. In reality, Bivol would beat both David Benavidez and Jamal Charlo. That is a fact. Because he is a much bigger man than both of them, and his fundamental techniques are just too solid for him to be able to lose against a smaller man in Benavidez and Charlo, who has most of their best work happening from either dominating because they're the bigger man or being able to get on the inside, okay? Simple boxing knowledge. And if you have a problem with it, drop it in the comments below if you want to disagree with me. So, with that being said, now we're in a position, we're looking at the whole situation, and we're looking at it from the outside, and okay, Canelo lost to Bivol. Okay, cool. Now where do we go from here? Do we really see a rematch happening between Bivol and Canelo? If it makes money, it makes sense. But does that make money? Or are we now seeing Canelo doing what we saw a very smart play coming from Canelo's team, Eddie Hearn, Canelo, Eddie, whoever you want to motherfucking put the support or the respect to, of being like, let's go ahead and fight Bivol. We might lose. That's cool. None of our belts is on the line. But the reason also why we're picking this package, because remember what I said on one of the Fluenceboxings I did. I don't remember which one it was. So please run up the numbers, figure out which one I said it in. But I know I said it. I was like, hey, y'all. Bivol versus Canelo is the biggest boxing fight of the year, other than maybe Triple G versus Canelo 3, right? So where does this leave Canelo? Where does this leave Triple G? So this is my whole point. So I'm like, so he loses to Bivol. I doubt we're going to do a rematch, because what's the point of a rematch? No one wants to see the rematch. And if you do want to see the rematch, you don't want to see the rematch more than Triple G versus Canelo, because now we can look at it from the standpoint where like, oh, Canelo lost to Bivol, so Canelo versus Triple G is going to be a lot closer than we think. Canelo's not unbeatable. So now we're going to see something that we never expected. See what I'm saying? It's all marketing ploy. It's all put together to make us interested. I'm not saying the actual outcome, but the way you want to line up the fights, the way you want to make certain things happen, you want to make sure the outcome, whatever it may actually happen from the outcome, it lines up and is able to sell and keep people interested. And so in this particular aspect, we're seeing Canelo be like, okay, I don't feel like I lost the fight. Eddie Benoist was saying, I don't feel like I lost, my fighter lost the fight. I would love the rematch. But say they don't give him the rematch. What's next? Triple G versus Canelo is next. And do you think anyone's going to say anything or give a fuck about him losing to Bivol, excuse me, when it comes to the Triple G trilogy? Yes. How? Why? It's going to make the Triple G trilogy that much more interesting because we can say, hey, we just saw Canelo get beat. So maybe Triple G can. What was the problem for the Triple G versus Canelo trilogy? What was everyone was saying? What was the negative things everyone was saying when it came to that particular trilogy? Well, Triple G looks old. He looks past his prime. He looks like he has nothing left in the tank. He looks like he looks like he's too slow. What does he have left? Well, guess what? Now we can even out all that, right? Oh, well, Canelo just lost to Bivol. Canelo looked slow. He looked lackluster. Head movement wasn't on point. Triple G can do the same thing, right? Obviously, we also know Triple G is older, smaller. What was I saying? Like, I like, if you want to be real, I do not expect Triple G to have success against Canelo the way that Bivol did, right? And Canelo beating Triple G, that just adds to his legacy because now he's going to put himself in a position where he's not going to take the rematch against Bivol. He's probably going to fight John Ryder after he beats Triple G. And after he beats John Ryder, he's probably going to now look to get a rematch against Bivol. Because Bivol's going to be elevated because most likely you got Arthur Bitterbeef going against Joe Smith Jr. is going to make Top Rank have every incentive now to be like, oh, we got to make this fight against Bivol now. Because at the end of the day, even with Canelo losing, Canelo's sweepstakes is still there. Canelo's still the biggest name ever. Everyone wants to see a Canelo fight, regardless of who he's fighting. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Tell me, please. Let me know. Let me know that I am off track and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. That's what it seems like to me. That's how I'm looking at it. So if that's the case, we got to figure something out, y'all. We got to put something together. We got to put two and two together, 3 and 3 together, 4 and 4 together, whatever. We got to make something add up and make sense. Because a lot of y'all was coming at me and a lot of y'all was telling me, I don't know who Bivol is. This is another gimme fight for Canelo. I'm tired of watching Canelo. This is why, man, y'all got to stop being so passionate about this bullshit ass narrative and be more passionate about the skill level. Because as much as boxing is formulated, as much as boxing is orchestrated, as much as boxing is literally created and put in a box, there's still instances where you can look at it from the eye test. And if you're looking at it unbiasedly and you really love the game, you'll understand something might happen that you didn't expect to happen. And a lot of y'all motherfuckers don't do that. You don't do that as face value. I don't blame you, though. That's the society that we in now. That's what we've been growing up to. That's what we've been bred in. Quick. There ain't no reason to have an elongated narrative or elongated perspective or elongated analyst or something. The quicker I could break something down, the quicker I can tell you this is what it is, the better it is, right? The more that we're going to be in tune, the more we're going to be captured, the more we're going to pay attention to. Even though that may not be, that's not the truth, that's not the case. We got to really, we got to be better people. We got to be better, man. It's upsetting. It's upsetting. I'm not trying to be no type of way, but it's upsetting. That's just the reality of it. But okay, let's go ahead. Let's keep everything flowing. Let's keep everything good. So, to summarize the first topic of this thing, Alvarez versus Bivol, was it a robbery? Can you justify it possibly being a robbery? Can you possibly, or in some type of frame of your mind, say, hey, this fight should have went Canelo's way, or at the very least being a draw? No, you couldn't. Canelo did not do enough. Canelo did not do enough, and Bivol did absolutely enough. That's what I give to Bivol was, if you were aware of the type of fighter he was before, it's very rare he would have took on the stance that he did in some of his rounds where he turned it up and he went another notch when it came to how he was ending the rounds or certain exchanges during the particular round where maybe, Canelo really tried to land some powerful shots and he said, oh, you're going to do that? Let me outshine that. Like, you could tell Bivol was very savvy and he was very boxing aware when it came to the judges and what he had to do to be able to win the rounds. Like, he was very beautiful and he did a very good job when it came to that. If you watch a lot of his fights beforehand, I'm not saying he's not aware of that. He is, because he's a very smart fighter. But at the end of the day, he always just fights the game plan. He fights the way he fights and he believes in it. So I thought that was something different that I saw from Bivol in this particular fight, where when he felt like he was getting the best of Canelo, rather than getting comfortable and trying to build on that, he tried to take advantage as much as he can in that particular moment. And there's a difference in that. So if I'm fighting a fighter and I don't think, I don't think my jab is going to be landing the way it's supposed to be landing, but all of a sudden it's landing the way it's supposed to be landing, maybe I become the type of fighter where, oh, I'm a cruise to a win because my jab is able to land a lot more, smoothly and beautifully than I expected it to. So I can work off it with the uppercut. I can work off of it with the overhand right. I can work off it with the right hook. I can work off it maybe with the left uppercut. You know what I'm saying? I have different options. That's who always, in my opinion, when I watched Bivol, that's who he was. In this particular fight, rather than doing that, he said, oh, shit, I'm getting the better of Canelo right now in this exchange. So rather than trying to ease my way into continuing to be able to establish that dominance in that area, I'm just going to take advantage of it now. And so he was like, oh, it's working? Oh, boom, 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 two, boom, 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 2, 3, boom, 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 2, 3, 2, 2, 2, 3. You know what I'm saying? Boom, 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 uppercut, left. You know what I'm saying? He was very aware that in that moment, I'm going to capitalize off of this exchange because I can get the better of him, because it'll look better on the scorecards and allow me to win the fight, rather than doing what I usually do, which is I can, continue to kind of coast and build upon what I'm already utilizing, that my opponent is not able to, pick up on. So that was the difference that I saw when it came to Bivol and what he was doing. And it was very impressive. And he continued that along. And I think that was one of the main things that really threw Canelo off, because maybe Canelo didn't expect Bivol to do that. Because if you watched a lot of Bivol's fights, he will let off the gas and continue to work off that jab. But there were certain exchanges with Canelo that he didn't do that. He said, oh, I got the opening. Let me show off. Bivol really showed his thing. He really showed his, showed his skill. I was really impressed by him. I was wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say it, because I do have some videos out saying, oh, I told y'all, boo. Okay, I was feeling myself. I was on my fluence. I was wrong. I did pick Canelo to win in a very boring fashion. But if you guys listen, and you guys read between the lines in a lot of my videos, which you guys definitely not going to do, I was telling you all along that Bivol's probably going to win, and he has a very good chance to win, just because of the way he fights. Canelo made it seem very sure that he knew how to take away that jab. And I really believed he did, because he took it away a lot. He took away Billy. But the one thing I did also say, I was like, you took away Billy Joe Sanders' jab. But we're talking about guys who never fought the weight class that you were fighting at. And we're talking about dudes who are a lot smaller. You know what I'm saying? So that is how I feel. I love y'all. Let's go into the next thing. So is Canelo done? Right? No, absolutely not. Canelo's not done. The reason why he's not done, because it kind of goes into the earlier of the video when I was speaking about the factor of the post-fight interviews, right? The numbers that were made when it came to the post-fight interviews. Let me say this too. Happy Mother's Day to all the BlakGoose families, mothers out there looking for a happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. But Canelo's career is not done, right? The thing about making this risk, taking this risk, taking this chance, moving up in weight. His fate looked very similar against Kovalev about 3 years ago. Okay. He was losing the Kovalev fight, but he caught him. He caught Kovalev. But Kovalev was older. And remember, he doesn't fight that style. I've said this many a times on my shit. I said, Bivol, he fights that style. He fights in and out, rhythm step, using my feet, congruent with my, my jab and my right hand. It's going to be hard for Canelo to be able to figure out and get on, and get in range. And if you watch that fight very closely and you're very attentive, Canelo was letting off a lot of his signature shit. And it was was getting caught on the gloves, on the elbows. Caught. Elbows. Canelo, nothing that Canelo was landing was connecting clean on Bivol. Nothing. So that's another thing people got to realize. Sometimes, life is about taking chances. Sometimes the chance that you take, it don't actually end up going the way you thought it would go. And that's this case. And that's why I'm like, it's like I'm kind of back and forth the way I'm talking about this or like how I'm feeling about it, because I'm very respectful of what Canelo's doing. He's taking his chances. He's doing things I never saw, what I'm saying, when it comes to the boxing community, man. He's really trying to, put himself out there. But and actually, let me say this, even regardless, let me say this. Canelo, respect. Bivol, respect. Bivol, you a goddamn beast. I can't wait to see you against Artur Beterbiev so you can show that you're better than Artur Beterbiev, because I actually think Bivol beats Beterbiev. I've been saying this. And then Canelo, keep doing what you fucking doing. But can I say this? Let me say this to the people who watch these fights and feel a certain way about these fights. Educate yourself more, right? Stop just watching your favorite fighter. You don't give a fuck about the sport. You give a fuck about the person you're watching. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that, but educate yourself. You would have known this probably would have happened. Just educate. That's all I'm saying, man. Stop playing yourself. Stop selling yourself short. Educate yourself. Stop being a fan of a boxer. Be a fan of the sport. Be a fan of the sport. Dive into it. You know what I'm saying? Get into the details. Get into the nitty gritty, man. Understand the game. And have a more realistic understanding, a more realistic mindset to what the fuck you watching. Because y'all don't. And it don't make no sense to me. And I guess that it makes it more fun when you look at it that way, you know what I'm saying? When you got your mindset, or you got everything orchestrated that way, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna look at it. I get it. It makes it more fun, cool. But come on, we can do better, y'all. We can do better. But I'm gonna salute that. So let's go into the last topic. So to people, you know what I'm saying? And this has to do with something that we've been talking about, you know what I'm saying, here and there when it comes to everything surrounding this subject. And that's Triple G. That's Gennadiy Golovkin, right? What about Triple G? Where does Triple G go from here? Because one of the things I want to start off with is saying is a lot of people had just a lot of foul shit for Triple G. And I said this already, but I'm going to go ahead and implement this. I'm going to go ahead and reiterate this as well. Y'all had a lot of foul shit for Triple G. You know what I'm saying? He's too slow. He shouldn't be in the position he's in. Why is he still fighting? A lot of y'all was saying he was going to get knocked out by Ryota Murata. A lot of y'all said, why you switch trainers, Triple G? Like, you finna just, I ain't gonna do nothing for you. You ain't shit, right? A lot of y'all had a lot of things to say, you know what I'm saying, when it came to Triple G, his trajectory and his position and what he, chose to be. And I'm like, I'm not gonna say rightfully so. I do understand it to an extent, obviously, because Triple G, you know what I'm saying, he's on the older side of the gang. When I'm on that older side of the gang, I want y'all to tell me, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He's on the 41, 42 side of the game. You know what I'm saying? 40, 41. You know what I'm saying? He's not no young spring chicken, but at the end of the day, he can easily come back to all of us and say, hey, yo, look, supposedly I've only lost to Canelo. So y'all telling me I'm too old. Y'all telling me I need to retire, all this extra shit, but I've only lost to Canelo, supposedly. And there's people who can argue and say that I beat Canelo maybe in one of the matchups, right? So if that's being the case, and that may be a possibility, let me get my get back. Let me get my get back. Like, come on now. At the very least, I'm not saying I'm trying to do this till I'm old and I'm kicking in the grave, but I'm just saying, like, if I got some beef, I got a rivalry, and it seems 50-50, it seems like there's people saying that I ain't lost it. There's people saying I did lose it. I'm seeing where Canelo's at now, especially with him losing the Bivol. Like, it even, further, cements the fact that we should be fighting. It should be happening. What do y'all think? How y'all feel? Like, what's your realistic thoughts on that? So that's the question that I have in mind. Like, when I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, the question that I have in mind is like, All right, so after this Bivol fight, we were supposed to have Triple G versus Canelo. Canelo lost to Bivol. Obviously, Bivol was going to be offering a rematch. I don't think Canelo's going to take the rematch. I think this actually builds up and makes the fight against Triple G a lot bigger than if you would have beat Bivol, if that makes sense to me. I said if that makes sense to me. That makes sense to y'all. Like, I really actually think that him losing to Bivol with this happening, it actually builds up the fight for Triple G versus Canelo 3 to be that much bigger, because it just comes down to say, hey, your weight classes are here for a reason. It's implemented for a reason. Yo, have fun. Like, the people who really did what they did, you got to respect it. It's crazy because I know it sounds weird, but like Canelo almost made his legacy that much bigger by losing to Bivol because he beat Sergey. So it's almost like you got to, a lot of people, like, you got to understand, you got to think about this shit from like 5 years to 10 years from now. So when I'm an older nigga and I look back at Canelo's career, I'm not going to think about his losses like that. I'm just going to be like, damn, you really challenged Bivol for that fight. But you beat Kovalev. Oh, wow. You're a beast. So like, that's, you got to understand that. You know what I'm saying? You got to look at it from that aspect. It's a long-term mentality. You know what I'm saying? You can't have none of that dumb nigga shit in your head. But with that being said, what y'all think, BlakGoose TV family? What y'all think? What do you think the next move for Canelo is? You know what I'm saying? Do you think Canelo's going to end up fighting Triple G again? Or do you think he's going to take the, or you think he's going to try and enforce a rematch with Bivol? Like that's the question. Or do you think, me personally, this is what I think is going to happen. I think Joe Smith Jr. versus are the Bitter Beefs going to happen? The winner of that, which I think Bitter Beefs is going to end up winning, I think it's going to be them versus Bivol. You know what I'm saying? Bivol now is going to probably fight Better Beef or if he beats Joe Smith Jr. And then Canelo's going to fight Triple G. Canelo's still going to try fight Triple G. That's not going to change. I truly believe that. I still feel like Canelo's going to fight you. So I don't think, as much as we might want to see a rematch, or Canelo fans may want to see a rematch against Bivol, it's not going to happen. We're going to see Triple G versus Canelo 3. Canelo's probably going to win that one. And then we're going to have Canelo being able to pick whatever the fuck he wants when it comes to the John Ryder joint, because no one's going to remember. And because of him losing against Bivol, now we can probably throw away the cruiserweight fight with Makabu. So if I'm Andrade, Charlo, Benavidez, any of these niggas, I'm like, you ain't gonna keep moving up trying to make some history when it comes to that shit. You ain't gonna do that no more, because you know how you might lose, because these boys is bigger. You know what I'm saying? So I think you're gonna see. I think we have a resurrection when it comes, especially when Canelo himself, he says, hey, I'm trying to fight until I'm 38, 39. I think fighting Bivol, he realized, like, I can't just fight these young guns or, you know, the same age as me or these bigger dudes. It's not going to happen. So if he wants to be great, he's going to have to stay in his division. So what does that mean? Benavidez, Charlo, Andrade, these niggas is here to fight. You won't have to fight them. But we'll see. You never know. You know what I'm saying? That's how the game goes. You know what I'm saying? They always want to fool you. They always want to make it seem like a certain type of way. They always want to make it seem like, hey, this is what's going to be. It's what's going to be. But a lot of times that's not what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's the end of the day. But I'm going to say this right now, man. I'm going to salute to the people. I'm going to appreciate everybody up in here, man. I'm going to just come in here, you know, late night, Sunday night. I want to get my opinion off real quick when it came to the whole Canelo situation. I touched everything. When it came to the topics, Canelo Alvarez versus Dmitry Bivol, a robbery. I don't think it was. I think it was absolutely fair. I think it was absolutely fair. Bivol won that fight easily, in my opinion. I think it wasn't as close as the judges made it seem. I actually thought Bivol won it easily, and I don't think there's going to be a rematch when it comes to that. It wouldn't make any sense for Canelo. Canelo's probably going to look for that Triple G third fight. Is Canelo done? No, Canelo's not done, because once again, like I said, if you look at those post-fight interviews, when it came to Bivol's post-fight interviews, it was barely hitting like 80K, 90K when it came to the States. And when it came to Canelo, he was hitting well over 200, 300,000. So Canelo's still a big draw. He's still that guy. And I think at the end of the day, the narrative when it comes to this fight is going to be like, hey, because Canelo has so many fans in the States, in Mexico, etc., The narratives are going to be like, hey, Canelo took a chance. He didn't have to fight Bivol. He decided to, no hiccups here. Respect to him. He's taking on anybody and everybody. He's calling out anybody and everybody. So so at the end of the day, he's going to get a lot of respect from it. That's my opinion. And at the end of the, and then the last topic, what about Triple G? What about Gennadiy Golovkin? I think this makes the fight against Canelo Alvarez that much bigger. I think this actually ends up being a good thing for Triple G. Triple G betted on himself. He went with DAZN. He continued to have fights and make fights with DAZN in a co-promotional deal. Some of the fights, some people said he lost. Derevchenko was one of those fights people said he lost, but other than that, won every other fight, regardless, and looked fashionable. And then at the very end, where they said he really had to make noise and he really had to prove a point, and he had to say, hey, this is the reason why I should get that third fight, which Canelo, even though you got to say I'm too old, Ryota Murata knocked him out, did impression, absolutely amazing work, impressed me to a whole nother level, impressed a lot of the boxing fans as well. And if you're not impressed by that, you're probably a hater. So with him doing that, what does this mean for Triple G? I think this is even more of a good sign for Triple G. I think we're gonna have Canelo versus Triple G happen next for the trilogy, and I think it just gives some confidence for Triple G. He probably thinks he can probably beat him, seeing what Bivol was able to capitalize off of. Like I said, it was something that Triple G is very, very fond of and something that he utilized in his own game plan. So with that being said, I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Please keep supporting the channel, man. Like, comment, subscribe, man. Be part of the BlakGoose TV family, man. Nothing but love. Let's keep this thing going, man. Life is short, but at the end of the day, if you make the most of it, hopefully you can understand why you appreciate this shit day by day and minute by minute. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. BlakGoose TV family. Fluence. I'm out.